Southern Ohio Farm Show. This is Gigi Neal of OSU Extension in Claremont County, Agricultural and Natural Resources Educator.
Well, I'm James Morris, the Agricultural and Natural Resources and Community Development Educator for the Ohio State University Extension in Brown County.
Hello, my name is Richard Purdon. I'm with the Ohio State University Extension. I am the Ag and Natural Resource Educator for Adams County and the Community Development Educator for Adams County, Ohio.
And I'm Brooke Beam, the Ohio State University Extension Educator for Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Community Development in Highland County. And we will be your hosts for the Southern Ohio Farm Show.
Hi, everybody. Aaron Wilson, OSU Extension climatologist here with the weather update for the Southern Ohio Farm Show. So the cover photo today comes from Amanda Doritas, OSU Extension up in Champaign County, but it certainly captures well what our scenes have looked like over the last 2 to 3 weeks. We've certainly taken a pretty hard winter's punch here in 2021 after a relatively warm and dry start to the wintertime in December and January. Over the last 7 days here across Southern Ohio, we've seen temperatures averaging between 10 and 20 degrees below our long-term averages. And over the last 30 days, as you see on the right-hand side, temperatures averaging between 4 and 8 degrees below average. Again, this was after a very warm January and a pretty mild December as well. Looking at our recent precipitation, mostly in the form of snow, freezing rain, and sleet, but we've seen anywhere between 2 to 5 inches of liquid equivalent precipitation across the southern tier of counties here in Ohio. Greatest amounts have fallen across Scioto and Lawrence County, with a little bit less to the north. And this is all above average here across Southern Ohio, anywhere from 110 to 130% above average. Now, looking at the seasonal snowfall, we've seen about 20 to 30 inches of snowfall across Southern Ohio. And in general, that's about 5 to 10 or even 12 inches above average for this time of the year. So it has been a snowy February, a snowy winter overall, but a very snowy February for sure. And so with that snowpack out there, we build up a good 2 to 4 inches of snow water equivalent across the state, including Southern Ohio, that's now really start to melt away and should continue over the next several days. And that's because the temperatures are looking pretty warm, a little bit above average as we head over the next 5 to 6 days here. We should get up into the low 50s today with a good chance of rain about the region. Tomorrow, a little bit dry and cooler. And then we're going to get into an extended period of showers from Friday throughout Monday. Pretty soggy weekend. We're going to transition very rapidly into mud season. So for all of our livestock operations and certainly our fields out there, I think are going to get pretty soggy as we head through the month of March. But temperatures look to be much, much warmer than what we've seen over the last several weeks. Looking at the 8 to 14 day outlook, we should be in the mid 40s and mid 20s this time of the year for highs and lows. We've got a pretty good probability of seeing above average temperatures for this 8 to 14 day outlook that takes us through the 8th of March, but also an increased probability of above average precipitation. So again, I think our fields are really going to start to get soggy over the next couple of weeks, just in time, of course, to try to get out there and start our fieldwork preparations for our spring planting. Unfortunately, the latest Climate Prediction Center outlook for March through May, our spring season, while it does look like our temperatures are going to be above average, it does look like we have a pretty good shot of above average precip as well. So we're really going to have to monitor the flood outlook with the snowpack, melting snowpack, and then the active weather pattern that we're likely to continue through much of our springtime here. So until next time, please take care of yourselves, take care of each other. You can always find some more information at Facebook and Twitter here at Dr. Wilson's Weather, at the State Climate Office website, climate.osu.edu. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Hello, my name is Richard Purdon with OSU Extension. I'm the Ag and Natural Resource Educator and Community Development Educator for Adams County, Ohio. And today I want to talk about farm office work and preparing for the upcoming spring season. Spending some time in the farm office during the winter time can be a good time spent. It can actually be very lucrative on the farmer's part by taking some time and actually getting a game plan down of what he or she wants to do in the coming growing season. During the winter time, when outside chores aren't as long in time or demanding in time as they would be during the spring growing season when we're trying to get our crops planted and manage livestock. So taking time now is an effective means of getting your operation ready to go for the spring season. There's a lot to get accomplished, so it's best to start early rather than later. Many of our desks might look like this, where we got all kinds of things going every which way, every direction. So it's best to sit down and actually organize that desk and take one step at a time, take one chore at a time as you go. So a good place to start is the dreaded 4-letter word, taxes. It starts with a good record-keeping system. This has to start now, and this is a good time of year to start because tax season is year-long. It starts from January 1 and ends on December 31st. It's basically taking those records, keeping them in a safe, organized place, knowing where to go to find those records throughout the year. Keeping those records safe, no matter if they're physical or on electronic forms, is very important. And remember to keep those records for 3 years for a single operator and 4 years for operations that have employees. Know where to go for help. There's many publications and CAG websites that can help you learn how to do your own taxes. And then at the end of the day, have a trusted attorney or a trusted tax advisor help you out with your taxes. Sometimes this is the simplest way. You can keep your records. If you're a good record keeper, you can keep the records and give them the records, and they can help you along the way. Making a good game plan is important. Make sure to involve everyone. Get everybody at the table that's involved in the farm operation. Start by evaluating the current operation. Look at your strengths and look at your weaknesses. This is good for any kind of operation, because no matter how bulletproof you think that your farm operation is, there's always strengths and there's always weaknesses that can be addressed and built upon. So it's best to look at those, sit down, and once again, involve everybody in the operation so everybody knows what they're doing, what their responsibility is, and what they need to be planning on right now. And most of all, set those goals. This is a good time of year to set goals and stick to them. Make sure that you keep those goals written down or in an electronic form that you can look back at throughout the year and go back to them and make sure that you're on track. So come the end of planting season, June, late June, or even July for some crops, you can look back and say, well, did I really do what I planned on doing way back in February? This is important to do. This keeps you on track and make sure that you are doing the right things during the right time of year. And make a strategy to successfully fulfill those goals if they weren't successfully filled. So if you do look back and a lot of those goals weren't met in the spring or even summer or fall of this year, that's a good thing. That means that you know that you didn't meet those goals, that you can build upon them and meet those goals as you go. So do you know your cost of production? So this is very important for no matter what type of operation you have. If you're raising corn, soybeans, wheat, alfalfa, hay, grazing cattle, feeding fat cattle or hogs, cows, chickens, whatever you are raising on the farm, you need to know how much money you have into that entity or that enterprise and how much money you can make back on that. So marketing, the you can't not have a marketing plan until you know your cost of production. So sitting down and pencil paper out what your cost of production is, your inputs, and other variable costs that goes into a crop or into a livestock enterprise. And there are many tools. Use some budget calculators. Ohio State has a lot of different options, different budget calculators to help evaluate those costs and set your own budget. So, and keep them and make sure that you're always evaluating them and building upon them. And don't be afraid of change. So if something is just not making money, change it. If it's not pencil papered out, change it. Change something in there to make it work. It's best to make those changes early on. That way you're not at the sale barn or at the elevator looking at your check and saying, well, this year didn't make as much money. It's best to make those changes early on and be ahead of that. And also, key to budgets, no matter if you're raising livestock or grain or hay, be conservative on yields and prices. Never overshoot those yields and prices. So if your average yield on the farm has been 140 bushels for corn, you want to shoot a little bit below that on your budget calculator. That way you know that you're going to make money no matter what. How can your operation become more efficient and sustainable? This is something that a farmer or producer should always be thinking about. How can I become more sustainable? No matter what happens in the economy or weather or just anything that can affect our farm operation. How can we become more sustainable and more resilient to those constant outside forces that put stress on our operation? So, first of all, once again, going back to your budget, break down those inputs. Feed costs. Feed costs can account for 50 to 60% of your total input costs on a livestock farm. Pricing different feedstuffs, managing grazing practices can be options to reduce feed costs. So if you are a conventional cow-calf operation and you are spending more money each year on hay and you're having to feed hay earlier in the season, look at some grazing practices. Evaluate your pastures. Are your cows eating the pasture down? Does there need to be fertilizer applied to those pastures? Take some soil tests. Look at all these things. How can you become more sustainable? How can you become more efficient in your operation? Also, looking at early pricing of inputs. Locking in seed, fertilizer, chemicals early in the season usually means you get a better price for them. Usually during the winter time, our fertilizer and our chemical and our seed prices are a little bit cheaper due to early pay discounts or even due to market levels during that time of year because of less demand. Break down the data. So when wintertime is around, you have plenty of time to look at stuff and analyze those data points. Look at the soil test results. Look at the forage test results. And get a game plan together once again of what to do with those results. And if you need help interpreting those results, go to your local extension agency and office and ask your local extension agent what can I do to make this soil test better? What can I do to increase my nutrient values of my forage? And they should be able to help you, sit down with you and help you get a plan together. Evaluate added expenses. So it's easy to get caught up in the advertisements and the glorified, I guess you could say, traditional seed treatments and other traits of of seed companies. So seed cost accounts for 40% of your variable cost of production. So are there traits, are there treatments, are there things that you are buying that you really don't need? Additional treatments, additional traits that might not be suited for your operation, but you're spending the money on them anyways, can add a good bit of money to your seed cost. So breaking them down, talking to your agronomist, saying, this is what I have, this is my environment. Do I really need to be spending the money on this trait package, or can I go with something a little bit less, or maybe do I need something different? Maybe I'm getting the wrong type of trait package for my corn and soybeans, or even other forage seed. Do I need to do something different? So evaluate those expenses and make sure that you're not spending money when you don't. Take time to contact those people. Like I said earlier, contact the agronomist, contact the extension educator, and ask them, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions and concerns. So this is also a good time to talk to your financial institutions. If you have operating loans, or if you work with a bank on different loans on the farm, great time to just show them, hey, this is what's going on the farm. Give them a budget, give them your budget, and give them your breakdown of what your operation is doing right now. Crop insurance. This is a big time of year to evaluate those crop insurance needs. And once again, are you spending money where you don't need to be spending money? Is there certain protections or certain crop insurance needs that you need or don't need that's raising the price of your premium? So talk to your crop insurance agent and ask them, hey, this is what's going on the farm now. Do I really need this level of protection on this crop or in this type of marketing year? And speaking of marketing, grain and livestock marketing, that should be a year-round consideration. No matter what you are raising and producing and selling, you need to make sure that you're marketing those. Even if they're eating hay right now out in the barn, or if you got corn growing out in the field, you need to be constantly marketing that product, because that's where you make your money. So look at the markets, analyze them, and keep track of them. Don't be a marketer of last minute. Use your resources and talk to institutions to help you with that. Work on your plans. So this is a big one. So there's many plans that are involved in agriculture, but the first one needs to be your farm plan, your business plan. So operations, a business plan needs to not only show your lenders or show your business partners that you are on your game and you have a plan and you're going to make good of that plan. You need to start one now. Earlier the better, and always have it ready to whip out and show that you have one, and always be revising that plan. It's a living plan. It should always be revised and changed and worked upon and improved upon. So operation summary is where you need to start. Participants in the operation need to be involved in the business plan. What the farm produces, what are you raising, and what are you going to be marketing? Where are you going to market? How are you going to market? Those are all important things. And the financial status of the goals. Are you going to market those? Are those soybeans going to need a loan to produce them, or are you going to have the money on hand to do it? So good things to think about. Risk management plans. This could be marketing. This could be different uses of technology to help mitigate risk. just different things that you can do. And once again, always have a plan B or even C if things don't work out, and be ready to revise that plan. Investment plans. If you're thinking about expanding the farm or improving the farm in some way, either by building structures or buying animals or increasing the herd of your flock or herd, make sure that you know that you have a good investment plan and an investment partner. Make sure that you involve everybody in the operation during this time. And this means family members, even off-farm investors. So is your family members all on board for investment plans? Or are they wanting to invest in off-farm things? So always evaluate those things. Retirement plan. For many farmers, for young farmers, they don't think about retirement much, and even for some older farmers, retirement plans are not really on the top of their minds. But the reality is that no matter what, nobody can work forever, and a retirement plan should be implemented to address issues that will face each family member involved in the farm. So this could be funding. How are you going to fund your retirement? How are you going to live when you're not farming? Obligations to other family members. What are the obligations to the family members that are going to take over the farm or just take use of the farm? Current profitability of the farm. Is the retirement feasible now, or your retirement income needs? So after you retire, do you have another income, or do you need more income? Those are things to think about. Transition plans. This is very important because farm transition plan layout and strategy to transfer the operation to the next generation is important. If you do not have a plan together to transition the farm over to the next generation, then you will never know, or the farm might not ever continue on. So you need to make sure that you have a transition plan together. So what is involved in a transition plan? So tax planning. How is the transition going to affect your taxes? How is it going to affect the next generation's taxes? Financing strategies. How is the transfer going to be financed? Is it, out of pocket, or is it loan, or some other way of financing? Fairness. Are you being fair to all the generations involved in the transition plan? And training the next generation. This is probably the most important. Are you training them to be the next generation to farm, or are you training them to be the next generation to just handle affairs such as being a landlord? So once again, preparing your next generation. Are they going to be an owner-operator of the farm, or are they going to be an owner-landlord of the farm? And training should start as early as possible, but no matter what, getting that training in is important. Making sure that they know what their duties are, what they need to do. Are you training them to know how to produce livestock or produce crops? Just different things that can help along the way in the future generations. Estate planning. For most people, this is an uncomfortable subject, and most farms do not like to talk about it. But it's a good thing to start. Start thinking about, what happens when you're not going to be around anymore. What is the next generation or next operator on the farm able to get along with everybody in the members of the family? When you're gone, will the farm continue on smooth as silk, or will it be a bumpy ride? So these are things to get settled now and make sure that you have, once again, everybody at the table. Start the discussion early. So tax planning, establishing a living power. This takes everyone at the table once again to know what you're thinking, what you want, and writing a will. So in summary, remember, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Wintertime is a great time to set those goals, evaluate the health of your operation, and remember to involve other members of the operation. Start thinking about the future of your operation. And here's some good resources. As always, contact your local extension educator for help. And thanks, Spring. Everybody have a great day.